She had the epiphany of enjoying all the wealth and riches in the world. She held Mary's hand, still holding on to the pot, and said, "Sorry, my friend, I need the pot also. So it's either you or the pot, and I choose the pot." Amongst the beautiful trees across the magical river, there was a legend told that anyone who is able to stand the test of the river and answer questions across it holds the riches and wealth in the entire universe. And Mary listened to the two older women chat among themselves. She too had heard this tale being told many times, and all those that were brave enough to go where was said had never returned. No one knew the questions or the test the river gives to each individual, but no one has ever survived, the fat woman said to her friend. And Mary walked slowly and silently behind them, eavesdropping on their conversation on the path to the market square. She thought of her parents and her little sister and the abject poverty they had had to endure. If she could get a fraction of that wealth and riches that everyone talks of, she could change the lives of her family, she thought long and hard. And Mary decided to change the life of her family or die trying, crossing the river. Throughout the night, she sat silently in her hut, planning and relieving the best way to execute the plan. Before the sun was up, she headed for her best friend's house. "Why are you in my house this early, Mary? Is there a problem, my friend?" Nene asked her friend curiously. "All is well, my friend. Hope no one is up," Mary asked, looking around for any life. "My parents are still in bed," Nene said. "Well, my friend, I've decided tonight to visit the river Rere." "What?" was all Nene managed to utter. "Mary, you know it's against the laws of the land, and all that try to cross never return." Nene stared at her friend with frustration. She knows her friend's decision was out of frustration and poverty, but that wasn't enough reason to embark on this suicidal mission, she thought. And Mary continued, "I'm here to ask you to join me." This statement left Nene dumbfounded, but upon continuous persistence, she gave in and decided to escort her friend. The day went by like a swift wind, and Mary began having second thoughts. What if I end up just like the others who never returned or came back? Or what if the tales told about the riches and wealth are all lies? She thought. Before she could change her mind, she heard Nene's voice behind her window. It was time to go. The river Rere flowed calmly in the night when everyone was asleep and boiled like hot water in the morning. The wonders and the beauty of the world. As Mary and Nene got closer to the river, fear enveloped them. Gathering courage, they held hands and began to cross the river. Just like the morning, the center of the river began boiling. High currents of the river picked up. They had to answer the questions, but no question was asked. From nowhere, something in the river began pulling and tugging at Nene's leg, dragging her into the river. And Mary, scared for her friend's life, tried her best and held on to her friend, fighting for her life of her friend and never letting go. About what felt and seemed like forever, everything stopped, and abruptly, they were at the other side of the river. Through the turbulence and the river wanting to take her friend, she never let her friend go. They had eventually gotten to the other side of the river, where it was said riches and wealth was. What Emery didn't know was that the river had asked her the question, and she had answered. The next person to answer was Nene. Across the river was a huge bare land that had no riches. They walked for hours and hours non-stop. Eventually, they came across a hut that looked partly scary. "Let's fight our fears, Nene," Emery said, holding her friend's hand, and barged into the hut. In the hut was empty, but in the center of it sat a pot. Emery sighed. "We went through all this trouble for a pot?" Nene said to Emery. "Let's go home, my friend. We have lived to tell the tale, and that is, there is nothing behind the river." Emery picked up the pot and said, "At least this pot is beautiful. My mother will love it." So she picked up the pot and they began their journey back to the village. As they neared the river, Emery said out loud, "Wish I could drink water. I'm very thirsty." Instantly, the pot she held got heavy and heavier by the second. The weight wasn't like before. She gasped at the pot, drawing Nene's attention. The pot was filled with water, she said. "Nene, I just wish to have water to drink." "And the pot is full of water." Emery drank from the pot. It wasn't like any water she had ever tasted. This tasted way better. The excited Nene said to Emery, "Make another wish." Emery said, holding the pot, "I wish for a gold coin, just to test the capacity of the pot." A bright light shone in the pot, and a gold coin appeared within it. This was the treasure that was talked of. The pot was the wealth and riches across the river. Their excitement made them forget the turbulence they experienced when crossing the river. The river surprisingly stayed calm and still as they crossed to the other side. As they neared the bank, the force from before began pulling, but this time Emery into the river. Nene grabbed the other side of the pot, trying to pull her friend, Emery, as hard as she could. And just like that, the evil that prevails in men's hearts showed. She had an epiphany of enjoying all the wealth and riches in the world. She held Emery's hand, still holding on to the pot, and said, "Sorry, my friend. I need the pot also. So it's either you or the pot, and I choose the pot." She relieved Emery's hand off the pot, letting the current drag her away, and Emery screamed echoing through the silent night. Nene didn't know that the pot had already marked Emery as its new master. As she crossed to the bank of the river, the pot vanished from her hand, vanished into thin air. "No, no, no, no. This can't be true. What just happened?" she said to herself, searching and searching everywhere, and to no avail. The pot was gone, and she didn't know and where it went to. She returned home eventually after long hours of searching for the pot. At the same riverbank, Emery was washed to the bank as she coughed out the water she had swallowed. Not knowing how she was able to survive the currents of the river, The pot sat by her side as the sky cleared to make way for the morning and the sun. In her hazy sight, she picked up the pot and went home. Nene had heard of the overnight riches of Emery and her family. Others claimed Emery's father had crossed the river and discovered wealth and riches. Nene, listening to everyone talk of her best friend, but didn't dare visit Emery's compound. She couldn't wrap her head around how Emery was able to survive the currents of the river and how she got hold of the pot that had vanished from her hand. She realized Emery had answered the river's question, and so did she. Emery saved her when she had to, but when it was her turn, she turned her back on her best friend. She chose the pot. Emery and her family enjoyed the riches, and Nene wallowed in her abject poverty with her family.